Yeah, so Patrick Finney with Amperon. I'm based in Houston, and title of my presentation is Musings from the Mailroom. I've been in the energy industry for a little less than 2 years, so still get to call myself somewhat of a rookie. So today, I'm really just going to be talking about how I kind of got up to speed and a little bit about my day-to-day of how I get informed about all the different market happenings in the energy industry here in the United States. But really quick, just a little bit about Amperon. So we've been around for about 8 years. We provide electricity forecasting, so both load and renewables. And our goal, this is really our mission statement right here: improve grid reliability, manage financial risk, which I think is probably the biggest thing, helping our customers make money and not lose money. And then more recently, optimizing renewables. We started doing solar and wind forecasting this year, and then looking to the future, accelerating decarbonization. But then a little bit about myself. So I was born in Seattle in 1995, great year for the Mariners. It's been all downhill since then. And then I lived in the Bay Area for about 6 years, love San Francisco, favorite city, and that's my good boy, very good boy, Nelson. So just really quick, like day in the life, what do I do when I wake up and I try and get informed about what's going on in the market? Energy GPS, I believe it's a couple of folks that used to work for Enron. But they put out a daily newsletter just talking about some of what Randy was talking about, just the crazy things happening in California and other grids like CAISO, ERCOT, PJM, all the different ISOs throughout the US. And really this reading list, for anybody that's interested, I think it's great. One of the things that got me interested in the energy industry as a whole was a book called The World for Sale that was released, I think, in 2020 or 2021. But would highly recommend this for folks that are just looking for more reading material just on the energy industry. Secondly, one of the things that I do every single day is go to Grid Status. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this website, but they've been growing like crazy. It's a really small team, but it's really impressive, the information that they release. So some of the recent blog articles, this is just a snap of their blog, but looking at some of the record-setting load or demand in ERCOT recently, and then also just how they're looking at predicting coincidental peaks for ERCOT's 4CP program. So I really recommend just checking out Grid Status's dashboard to track prices and also just the different ways that markets are changing. One last one, just another plug, no affiliation with these guys, but Moto Energy, they also put out some really great information about batteries and like the leading players in different markets, mostly in ERCOT. But they just have a ton of really, really great information on batteries there. So just wanted to highlight Energy GPS, Grid Status, and Moto Energy, just great resources for folks looking to get like more in tune with market ops. A lot of it is focused on ERCOT. That's where we focus a lot too. And this is a view of the dashboard. So this is the other thing that I do. Like first thing when I get to the office is pull up the ERCOT ISO short-term forecast. So what we're looking at here is just Monday. Monday is the first hump, and then Tuesday is the second hump there. And last Tuesday, ERCOT hit the all-time demand peak of like 85.5 something gigawatts there. And what we're really looking at here is just how Amperon compares to ERCOT's forecast. And so you'll see that ours is like slightly more accurate than what the ISO puts out there. And that sliver of accuracy is value to our customers that are buying wholesale power. So that's just to give a slight look and feel of what our dashboard looks like and what I like log into every single day to check out what's going on in the different markets. On top of that, the other thing that I look at daily is Mark's Weather Corner. So this is our in-house meteorologist, Dr. Mark Shipham. And one of the great things with the Hopetown Connections partnership is the amplification of some of Dr. Mark's various weather updates. So I know that the one in June was very focused on hurricanes and how this was going to be a record-setting year for hurricanes. And I know I'm not supposed to jinx this, but it's actually been under forecasting. Like there haven't been as many hurricanes as we were planning on. So I think we just released a blog article about that as well. But again, for our customers, there's an email that hits their inbox every single day, just Mark's Weather Corner, just giving an update. Again, it's not super regional specific. It's kind of just all throughout the United States of different weather patterns moving through. So those four things are really how I get set up for the day to make sure I'm like knowledgeable when I'm talking to different folks about what's going on in their corner of the United States. Last thing, just we have a great marketing team at Amperon. Unfortunately, like the biggest marketing pushes for us have been these crazy winter storms. So Winter Storm Uri and ERCOT, we gained a lot of customers after that event. Winter Storm Elliott, gained a lot of customers after that. And then more recently, the MLK weekend up in the Pacific Northwest, so January 2024. We've also picked up a number of the public utility districts because of some of the losses that folks saw from prices spiking over that MLK weekend. So just wanted to draw attention to those. And yeah, that's just a little bit about like my day-to-day and what I look at on a frequent basis. I have two other case studies that I could share, but I just kind of wanted to open up to questions if anybody has anything you might want to ask about what I just shared. Okay, I can also let people think on those. Let me just hop into, yeah.
Oh, good. No, go ahead. Okay. Can you go back to the dashboard real quick?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, for those of us with progressive and still struggling, so can you differentiate between the ERCOT forecast and yours on the graph?
Yeah, I know the colors do look a little similar, and I'm sorry. If I was live on the platform, I'd be happy to go through this with you later. Like I would basically just toggle off either the day ahead forecast or the ISO day ahead forecast to tune into what you're saying there.
Okay, and then just the humor me, so the way that your forecast being more precise than the ISO forecast helps the customers is by what?
So accuracy turns into more conviction into what they believe like the demand will be, what peak demand might be. Another thing, so then what do you do with that, right? So then downstream of that would be what price looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if demand comes in higher than what the ISO is predicting, you're going to see price spikes, right? And so one thing we'll see with ERCOT quite a bit is that they'll over forecast, right? Because, you know, long and wrong or short and fire kind of thing, right? But if they're consistently long, right? If we're able to cut down that sliver, that's cost savings there too, right? So people aren't over procuring in the market. Yeah.
So my question is kind of similar. So if I'm forecasting myself on an entity, I'm forecasting myself, I've got so much percent here.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is shrinking that percentage of inaccuracy down.
Yeah, definitely. So you'll see APE there, just an APE score. So that's an absolute percent error. And so we're trying to get that as close to zero as possible.
Can you provide better granularity?
In terms of
Geographic.
Yeah, geographic.
Yeah, we can go down to the meter level. So, you know, we forecast individual casinos on the Las Vegas Strip that are super energy intensive, portfolios of meters. Yeah, we're able to slice and dice it in a number of different ways.
Yeah, I remember that some industry that you can provide that service to.
Yeah, no, I mean, for the joint action agency level, it's very applicable for the different municipalities that roll up underneath them. So they could have a total view of their full portfolio and then break it down to all the different municipalities. Similarly for joint ag or for generation and transmission cooperatives, right? They'll have members as well underneath their purview. Yep.
So in a lot of the markets, you see a lot of variation, local marginal pricing based on, projection or weather events, just very localized.
Mm-hmm.
How granular can you go down some of those activities?
Right now in CAISO, we don't have a price forecast, but in CAISO, we have all the different zones that make up. So that's as granular as we would go at that ISO.
From a weather perspective.
From a weather perspective, that's where we can get very, very granular. So you'll see that like the weather model selected here is AG2, formerly known as WSI. We have 3 other vendors. So DTN, Spire is ERCOT specific, and then the national blended model is a NOAA recently released model. And so we're able to get granular down to like 2 to 5 kilometers as far as like, it's also population, density weighted. So that's one way that we're able to map, let's say, NCPA wanted to look at their forecast, we would take a shape file of the service territory and then use that density weighting to map weather to your constituents.
So you started in the mail and.
Yeah, so
That decision.
yeah, I was working in San Francisco and then I moved to Houston because my wife works in a hospital down there and I wanted to join the energy industry and heard about Amperon in the Houston Business Journal and started asking the CEO if I could work for him and he said no. I asked again, he said no again. And he said you can start as a sales development rep and I said cool, that sounds good. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey and that's kind of why I wanted to share about just some of the different ways. And one of the things I think we were talking about last night too is like things change so quickly in this industry. So it's almost easier to be a newbie sometimes, right? When things are changing so much, you can just kind of pick it up, or whether we're talking about AI, right? Everybody's a newbie, right? So then it's a lot easier to hit that learning curve. Cool. I'll just really quick, two different case studies, just both in ERCOT, but Rayburn, they're a generation transmission cooperative, but they use the grid demands of the ERCOT view as well as their custom portfolio view. And in tandem, they're able to make more informed market decisions. And then also Synergy, which works with a lot of different TPPA members. So they do the wholesale procurement for those members. And they're also able to utilize more of they're not using ERCOT. They're slightly less sophisticated than a Rayburn, but they still use those short-term forecasts to again make those wholesale procurement decisions for those members.
So who would then, a joint action agency, who would you speak with about this?
Yeah, great question. So going back to this view, like the folks that are using our forecast are typically traders or directors of power supply, director of market operations, the folks that are hedging their risk. So and that's why it is more applicable at the joint action agency level than at the municipality distribution level.
This has been a production of Hometown Connections. Thank you for watching.